In 2019, Bong Joon-ho made a movie about a family living in a basement. They scrub toilets when it floods. They steal Wi-Fi from the coffee shop. They fold pizza boxes for half a pay. And then one by one, they con their way into the home of a rich family, the Parks, and start working there as their tutor, driver, and their housekeeper. Most people remember Parasite for the twist, but the part that should haunt you is this. The Park family is not evil. They tip well, they speak politely to staff. They love their kids. They are, by every available definition, good people. And just by existing, by simply being the people who can afford that house, they are slowly destroying every single person beneath them. For tonight's episode, how the system you live inside became the villain without ever needing one. Let's get one thing out of the way first, because this episode won't work otherwise. Capitalism worked. Like, really worked. For a long stretch of human history, this thing was the single best technology we've ever invented for organizing cooperation at scale. Before capitalism, you had feudalism, where your great-grandfather served the Lord, your grandfather served the same Lord, and your kid was on track to serve that Lord's kid forever. There was no exit. There was no upward. You died doing what your family had done for 10 generations and called it duty. Capitalism broke that. It said, for the first time in any meaningful way, that what you make is more important than who your dad was. It pulled hundreds of millions of people out of subsistence farming. It built modern medicine. It built mass literacy. It built the internet you're watching this video on. The reason you're not currently dying of tooth infection at age 34 is, no joke, capitalism. So when someone goes, capitalism bad, lol, I get it. But they're skipping the inconvenient part. The system did something. It worked. But I want you to remember something we talked about in episode 1 of season 2. Every tool we build outlives our ability to control it. Frankenstein, the bomb, the algorithm. Capitalism is the same shape of story. Mary Shelley saw this coming. But so did Adam Smith, the guy who literally wrote the book on capitalism. Smith warned in 1776 that if you let businessmen organize too much of society, they would conspire against the public. He said this. The patron saint of free markets said, "Keep an eye on those people. They will eat the world if you let them." We did not keep an eye on those people. There's a moment in Parasite that I keep coming back to. After a long evening pretending to be people they're not, the Kim family gets caught in a torrential rainstorm. They have to flee, and they walk, for what feels like an hour of screen time, down through the city, down into the part of Seoul where rain doesn't drain. They wade through sewage water back to their apartment, which is now underwater. Their things, their photos, their kids' school papers, all destroyed. But on the exact same rainy night of this city, the Park family had a lovely time. They camped in their backyard. The mom called it romantic. That single sequence, the descent, is the entire thesis of the movie. The same weather event was, for one family, a wholesome bonding experience. For the other, a flood that destroyed everything they owned. Same rain, but on different levels of the same city. And the part that I want you to think about, nobody in the Park family did anything wrong. They didn't cause the rain. They didn't engineer Seoul's drainage. They didn't make their kids tutor poor. They didn't even know the Kims were poor. The system just sorted everyone into floors and then made the rain fall. The destruction does not require a villain. It just requires a system that rewards being on a higher floor. Now look around. As of this recording, gas prices in the US are over $4 a gallon, the highest in 4 years. Why? Because in late February, the United States went to war in the Middle East, and oil prices spiked. Working families are paying 40% more to fill up their cars. Single moms are choosing between groceries and the commute to a job that doesn't pay enough. Meanwhile, BP, the British oil company, just reported $3 billion in quarterly profit, more than double last year. Because that's how a system is built. The same war that empties one's family's wallet fills another company's bank account. And here's where it gets darker, because this isn't just impersonal economics anymore. 16 minutes before the current US administration announced a pause in those military strikes, somebody bought $580 million worth of oil futures on the Chicago Exchange. 16 minutes. The average for that time of morning that week was 700 contracts. This was 6,200. A sharp, isolated jump in volume, with no public news to justify it. And then, 15 minutes later, the announcement drops. The markets move, and whoever placed that bet makes a fortune. Nobody's been investigated. Nobody's been charged. The agency that would normally look into this has been, let's say, reorganized. Meanwhile, the family at the top of that administration has reportedly generated billions of dollars since taking office through a crypto venture, through investments in defense contractors that compete for Pentagon money, through private equity fund raising capital from the same governments tangled up in the war that family is supposedly negotiating to end. This is not a scandal. A scandal is when something breaks the rules. This is the rules. Capitalism in 2026 doesn't just allow this. It rewards it. It promotes the people who do it. It punishes the ones who don't. If you are the CEO of a publicly traded company and you have a chance to make money off of a war and you don't take it, you get fired. The shareholders sue you. That's not me being dramatic. That is just the legal structure of fiduciary duty. Maximizing shareholder value is the law, which means every single executive making decisions right now is doing so under a system that mandates them to put profit above your kids' lunch money. Not because they're evil, but because the rule says so. And it's about to get a lot worse. Because in the first quarter of this year, tech companies laid off nearly 80,000 people. And roughly half of those layoffs were attributed to AI. Block cut half of its workforce in February. Meta announced 8,000 cuts in April. The CEO of one of the biggest AI companies has publicly predicted that AI will eliminate half of all entry-level white-collar jobs in the United States. Half. He's not warning about this. He's selling the product that does it. And the savings from those layoffs, they go to shareholders. They go to stock buybacks. They go to executive compensation packages. They do not, under any circumstance, go to the people who lost their jobs. Same rain, different floor. This is the part of Parasite that genuinely broke me when I first saw it. The Kim family, the poor family, they're not heroes. They lie, they get an innocent housekeeper fired, they take advantage of a vulnerable kid. By the end of the film, you are not rooting for them. You're watching them become the kind of people the system needed them to become. Because that's the other thing the system does. It doesn't just sort you out on the floor. It teaches you to climb over the people on the floor below you to keep your spot. Look at how we talk to each other now. Influencers selling courses about how to scam your way into productivity. Hustle culture telling you that your worth is your output. Friends competing about how little they sleep. Parents teaching their kids to view their classmates as competition for the same scholarship. Lovers running cost-benefit analyses on each other. We did this to ourselves. Or, let me rephrase. The system did this to us. And we agreed. Because here's what capitalism is actually selling you in 2026, after all the marketing has been peeled back. Your worth is what you can produce. Your value is what you can sell. Your time is someone else's profit margin. And if you're not climbing, you're losing. That's the deal. That's the deal you actually signed up for by being born here, in this century, on this floor of the building. And the thing nobody tells you when you grow up inside the system is that it all feels normal. It feels normal that you exchange the best hours of your day for money that buys you the right to be tired in a small apartment. It feels normal that the cost of being alive, rent, food, healthcare, transportation, has been climbing for 20 years while wages have not. It feels normal that the people who own things keep ending up with more things, and the people who do things keep ending up with less. It's not normal, it's just consistent. Capitalism is becoming what religion became in episode 4 of last season. It used to give people something. a way out of feudalism, a reason to wake up, a measure of dignity that wasn't just about your bloodline. Now it asks more from you than it gives back. Now it tells you the floor you're standing on is the one you deserve. Now it sells you the self-help books about how the problem is your mindset and not the building. And like every monster we've ever built, capitalism has outlived our ability to control it. The question isn't whether it served us once. It did. The question is whether we have the courage to admit that the tool, this time, has gotten loose from the lab. That's Devil's Midnight Thesis. Next time, we ask what life feels like inside the system. The one that turned every interaction to a transaction. The one that taught you that the only roles available to a human being are the ones who sells and the ones who buys. Back then, it was killed or be killed. Now, you're either a seller or a consumer. See you then. Think responsibly. Or better yet, take responsibility.